All right, guys, today's guest, he is the master of the skies, one of the greatest drone pilots ever. No, I'm not joking.
He's really good.
He's so
he's
sick.
really good.
He's so sick. Fitz Masterson, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Did I pronounce the last name right, though?
Yeah, Masterson, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Bro.
I don't know. I just practice. I look in the mirror every time, just practice other people's names.
Killing it with the last name.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. Master of the Skies is definitely a compliment.
It's a sick title.
Yeah. Works with my last name too. So
yes.
cool.
There we go. See?
Yeah.
And a little bit of background about what we're doing here at Creatively Shred Podcast. Ian. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So basically, we're just taking like the experience of being an owner, a business owner, a content creator, entrepreneur, and kind of just pulling back the curtain. So I want the human side of like what makes Fitz. Like, what's your day look like? What's your stress look like? How do you handle the stress of being a content creator? How do you feel about social media? Does that apply to any of the stresses? Kind of like get into the nitty gritty of like who you actually are, and not just like, oh, I'm Fitz on Instagram.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the nitty gritty.
Let's do it, bro.
Give us a little background about what you do and like who you are.
Yeah, so I'm a cinematographer, FPV pilot. I've been doing it since like 19, I would say. I picked up a camera. It's funny, I never thought I would be like a creative or call myself a creative, and it just turned out that way. And just been hustling ever since, and opened my first business, Serenity Media, last year. And yeah, it's been a year and like 5 days today. So it's been a journey.
Happy 1 year, bro.
I appreciate it.
And what have been some of like the challenges that you've faced within the career, within not just the year of official business, but the year since you picked up the camera?
Yeah, I would say imposter syndrome is definitely a big one, and learning how to respect yourself and be able to set boundaries when working with people. When I first started, I worked with a lot of influencers, and I always tell, I guess, younger creatives or people coming into the scene of like, make sure that you set boundaries and like proper like expectations, so you yourself don't get burned or get hurt through working with somebody, because they see what you're doing, you see all the hard work that you guys are putting in. They want that, right? They want to be able to utilize that for themselves, and you got to protect that. You got to protect, being able to work for yourself, and a lot of people kind of abuse that sometimes, and I felt that a lot being young. They take that for granted. So definitely,
for sure.
And I've noticed recently, and I don't know if you have been doing these travel filmmaking, right? Was that always in the scene of what
Dude,
you
his
did?
intro is so modest. Like, he just got done working with lens distortion, and he freaking is in the Sam Colder creative group. Like, I fly in MPV. I'm a creator.
Humble and modesty in it. Yeah.
Definitely. What was your question?
Like, with the Sam Colder Creative Group, and also the recent like travel clips that you've been posting on Instagram. Like, have you been doing that, or has that been a new thing?
Okay, yeah. So travel itself, when I was growing up, I was like, I don't care what I do as long as I can travel. Like, that's all that matters to me. And so like filmmaking was never in the books. And I actually saw the first travel film I ever saw was Hey Tim from Sam Colder. And ever since then, I resonated that, like, I saw that, I was like, I got to do this. Like, this is exactly what I want to do. I was like a freshman in college, still trying to figure out what I wanted in life. And filmmaking kind of just fell into my lap. And ever since then, I've just been pushing to learn as much as I can and teaching myself. And so big inspiration on YouTube creators and creatives that really got me into cinematography space.
What was your first location that you went to for travel?
Oh, California. Yeah. So I actually drove from Norman, Oklahoma, where I was in college with a buddy of mine. We drove in an old van that I still have, that big busted old van.
Big old white van.
Yeah,
barely made it.
Yeah.
Like, actually barely made it. We drove up to LA, and we just went to the beaches, just filmed. It was like my friend and like these two girls. We're like trying to be like influencers and stuff at the time. That was the route that I was trying to go initially, is be like an influencer. But then I realized I love the art of filmmaking and cinematography. I've always loved like movies and stuff. But yeah, the first place I ever went to was California, and we just sent it, like, barely any money, and just like yeah, went ham in the ocean, just swam around waves, all that stuff. So
And
filmed it with a GoPro. Like we only had a
Oh,
GoPro.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh dang.
So
damn, I was about to say, like, what did you film with? Man.
yeah, like literally just an old GoPro.
Damn. And, you know, the recent ones that we've seen, at least online, since I've known you, is in Scotland. And I feel like one was in Italy or something like that. But, you know, we are curious of, like, we see it on Instagram. Everybody sees the Sam Calder videos on Instagram. Everybody sees other travels from Iceland or wherever, right? It's super cool. But what's the realism of being a travel filmmaker, or like the realistic side of it, you know, behind the lens?
Yeah. Before I start this, I want to caveat, I'm like super grateful that I can travel and
Yes, of course.
most of the time get paid. I know people can see this and be like, oh my God, he's complaining about traveling.
Dude, I thought the same thing when I started traveling all the time. It's hard.
Yeah, it's tough. So I love it. First of all, I want to say that I love it. But it is tough. Like there's so many factors that go into travel. Like you got to have a good itinerary. You got to, you know, traveling itself is stressful. Like going through the airport. I have like 1,000 batteries, my FPV batteries, my drone batteries, all that stuff, taking all that out, trying to make your flight. You get there and then you have like 6 or 7 days to film everything that you need, whether it's for your client or for your passion project. It's like, you know, it's got to be quick. And there's also, you got to wake up at, if you're trying to get like sunrises and sunsets.
Which you are.
Yeah, which I am. You got to be waking up at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So there's like a mental stress to it and definitely a physical stress to it of like waking up early, hiking to the location that you're trying to hike to. And if it's like a really remote location, you know, it could be dangerous. You finally get there and then the sun comes up, you shoot it, and then you have the whole rest of the day to shoot. So by the end of the day, you're exhausted. The trip, you're exhausted physically, mentally. And I don't know if you guys have experienced that as well.
I haven't experienced it on the front that you have, like traveling. I mean, I travel for clients, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're traveling." Like, I think in 2022, I traveled like 42 times with G1, and everyone was like, "Oh, you get to travel all over the place," but they don't understand the fact that I was like living in hotels. Like, I never left my hotel unless it was for the game, right? The championship game or them competing. Like, you didn't get to actually experience where you were.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like from a front of like going to create, and I've talked to Jasmine about this, and I want to go do a lot of that this year because a lot of times when I travel and I have the expectation to create while I'm traveling, I just feel overwhelmed by the fact that I'm trying to experience it.
Yeah.
On a vacation, but I also want to film it, but then I experience it more than I film it. It's like a weird thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's like super hard because you're not really in the moment when you're filming. For instance, I'll use sunsets as an example. I love sunsets.
Yeah.
But when sunset's coming, it's like instant stress because it's like, I got to get this. This is like golden hour. This is prime time. And so it's really hard to be present while traveling and filming. But when you do get those moments where you get the perfect shot and everything just looks pristine and it's so amazing, it's like so worth it. It makes everything worth it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between doing that for a client, for yourself too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because clients don't really leave a lot of room for the experience either. It's like, you need to fly in, you have 2 days, shoot this, you need to fly out. You're like, okay.
Right.
Let me just not experience LA, or like they fly you out to like France or something. You're like, oh, that's cool. You get to fly to France. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like 14-hour flight, hotel, shoot, edit, hotel, shoot, fly back. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And depending on the client, like you're not even going to be posting on your page or for yourself, right? And it's just like, you know, because I definitely have had projects where I've had to fly out, but it's not something I've ever posted or like, you know, like had out there. It was just for work for the clients, for them. It's like, I'm not doing anything with this. I'm just, it's grateful to get paid to work and fly out, but it's like, it's not for myself. It's not to promote with other work. Like I can't really show this to anybody. So, you know, I feel like, have you ever had like trips like that where it's been grateful again to get paid to travel, but some of these jobs are just like, it's really just a paycheck. You know, it's nothing big. I mean, it's huge to get paid for it, but really like you can't really utilize it for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I try to outreach to brands that I can actually utilize it in the front of like, the way that Sam Calder did it is he was like an influencer at the time as well as a filmmaker. He always had filmmakers around him. So he was pitching himself as the like model or influencer in his videos. So everything that he would create for those brands, he would be in as well. So he could use that content all the time. So I try to do that as well. It's like I'll be the talent as well as the filmer, and switch with my friends and stuff. Whatever team I have, usually they can be on camera and also be filming at the same time. So I try to be able to use it for my personal use as well. Usually, like lens distortions was a perfect example of like I can create whatever with them. They're super chill and I can just use it as well.
And going into like the theme of travel, lifestyle habits are hard. Already enough.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, how do you manage like eating properly? And like,
I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't. It's just like, I don't. It's really, really hard. I mean, it's hard to have anything planned because things can change so easily while you travel. And, sometimes there's like language barriers too. Like even ordering food is difficult. And it's like, there's just sometimes that you can't.
But how do you manage, like, let's say, for example, you get out there and the weather's just terrible. Like, what kind of mindset do you go into? Like, where's the shift? And like, how do you still create what needs to be created, but with, the opposition against you?
Yeah,
like,
I kind of just send it usually. Like, for instance, in Scotland, I only had 3 days.
And it rains there all the time.
It rained the whole time. I was drenched, like shivering. I was just like, whatever, this will end in 3 days. Like, by the time I'm done with trips like that, I'm like excited for it to be over.
Yeah.
And it's nice to kind of just chill out and vibe and edit what I have. But definitely like weather can be a huge problem, but you just got to send it. That's how I view it. You're only there for a couple of days, full send.
Wow. What does your day-to-day look like, man? Like, and you create a lot, you're out shooting. Like, what's your day-to-day? What are some of the habits that you've formed in your day-to-day to be able to produce, create, and still have like a semi-healthy mindset?
Yeah, I've kind of geeked out with this because I've thought about like the most optimal.
You're a lot like me, dude.
I've thought of like the most optimal amount of time I need to work every single day to like achieve what I want to achieve. Usually on a perfect day, it's really hard to stay consistent, but on a perfect day, I wake up at 7, I run with my dog, eat food, chill out for an hour, and then I start my work from like 8 or 8:30 to 5. And I try to stay focused on only like business work between that time frame. And I use this technique called the Pomodoro technique. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. It's like 20-minute work, 5-minute break, 20-minute work, 5-minute break. You do that 4 times, and then you take a 15-minute break at the end. And I've researched that if you do 4 Pomodoros, that's like the most optimal amount of work before your brain gets like overwhelmed with information. So that's my goal every single day is to do that. But usually I get like 2, maybe 3. Just depends.
So you get realistically, you get like an hour and a half of like straight flow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it always like this, or was it like before you found this technique?
Yeah, before I was just like winging it, just like whatever I felt like doing during the day is what I think I'm a very like driven person. But sometimes I can get like overwhelmed by that, and it causes like inactivity.
Yes. It's crippling.
Yeah, like paralyzing fear, like stuff like that.
Yes.
Right? And so like getting out of that's like super, super important for me. Is to just, as soon as I feel that like I'm not making progress, I need to just like push. It's so important to push right there.
Yeah.
And I feel like, with all of us having different kinds of relationship with friends, significant other, work, I think for me, right, and I've had talks with this with my significant other, the work-life balance between a significant other, right, having date night still and everything else, like beside like your healthy habit lifestyles and everything, how has that been a change from before to now?
With Faith?
With Faith, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
My significant other, yeah. Honestly, she's helped. Like, what's great is, great and could be bad at the same time, is we both work from home. So we're with each other like 24/7. She helps me stay focused when I need to focus. And afterwards, I can just hang out and chill. And she's really great with like helping with the dog, and we just try to help each other as much as we can.
Yeah. The part I really love about y'all's relationship is I feel like she actually wants to be involved in the creative process. Like she actually enjoys being creative with you, which is a fascinating
definitely
aspect of your relationship.
Yeah, whenever I'm like making something, I'm like, come look at this.
Yes, exactly.
Like, come check this out.
She has interest in it.
Yeah, she definitely has
helps.
interest. Yeah, so she's pretty awesome. She definitely helps, like building something with somebody. I think it is great and helps you like stay focused and achieve goals quicker. So I think being with a significant other during this process is, a great thing.
And, with all of this, up until now, like what you've been able to create and the people that you've been able to meet, what have been some of like your creatively stressed moments in your life, and how have you been able to like hurdle that,
Yeah.
If you were to name like a big one.
Yeah, creatively stressed moments. I say whenever, kind of what I was talking about earlier, is when I didn't really believe in myself and I thought that I needed others to succeed in what my goals were. That was when I was the most creatively stressed. I felt like subdued, right? I felt like it was really hard to get what I wanted to get done relying on other people, because I was like constantly being let down. And so going into future projects and working with other people, I know that I need to set proper boundaries, as well as like have that self-confidence to be able to push and do it for myself, but also have people work well around me. And so that's how I feel.
So if you were to give advice to like some newbie, or even someone actually that's just like in your position, trying to get into the creative space, what would be some habits you'd obviously one, set boundaries, right? But what are some other habits that they can go forth and like achieve what you're achieving, and also, deal with the negative side of things?
Yeah, definitely. I would say do it every day. Like if filming is your thing, try to do it literally every single day. Edit every single day. Don't be afraid to fail, because failure is the most important thing in this game, is like how to learn from this. Fail every single day and learn from it. So I definitely just do it every day and don't look back, stay progressing, because the best work always comes from consistency. That's the advice that I would give.
100%.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, Fitz, thank you so much for saying your words and thoughts of like everything that you've had to say up to now. And, I think that everything that you have made it to now is just another inclining like hill, just to like get to that next point where you want in either like being an FPs, being a cinematographer. And honestly, like for the people that don't know this guy, you guys need to follow him.
Facts.
Instagram. You have YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've been like an editing slug working on my my year 2023. Just not eating. I've been working on that. Creatively stressed right now. Yeah. Super creative.
What's funny too is when did we go cold plunging? Was that right before January?
Yeah, it was.
And I was like stressed as shit about putting my recap video together, and I was like, why am I putting this like expectation and boundary to have it January 1? He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna have mine for a couple months. I was like, oh, okay, I'll post mine in a couple weeks.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I posted mine February 1st. I was like, I don't care as long as it's there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think you're gonna have a big year, bro.
Yeah, man.
Big year, and I'm excited to travel with you. Hopefully in March.
Oh yeah, excited to travel with you guys.
Let's go. Wait, what? Okay. Okay.
We're trying to do a little creative.
I remember. Oh yeah, the group
New
chat
Mexico.
convo.
Yes.
I need to get my passport. Oh wait, no, New Mexico.
No,
Just
bro.
kidding.
Yeah, you good. Thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Peace.